Hey, what's up, team? Bob here. You know that. Uh, Given the number of followers I have, I doubt anyone who follows this does not know me. Bob BFT, bobbing for truth. Hashtag BFT. Let's not forget about it. Let's not forget about that hashtag. It's very important. The algorithm does care, and I still haven't seen a hashtag on that, including pretty much by my own actions. So don't worry about. Don't You don't need to do anything. I'm just kidding. Um, Anyway, hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Hope you didn't ruin any familial relationships. Hope they only got stronger. Hope you didn't ruin any on your own act, like as in you decided to ruin one because of someone else's actions. I mean, I know Thanksgiving can be a difficult time. At least I've heard stories of other people. So anyway, let's get down to business. There's one piece I did want to uh, bring up is excuse me, is that uh, um, one thing I haven't done a good job of, and I'm going to start doing a good job of with this one, and I'm going to go back to all my prior episodes and cite things better. No one spanked me for this, but I do think that for two reasons. One, I don't need any. I haven't referenced anything directly, so let's not be straight on that. What I do is I introduce something and then I research it and then I come back and talk again about it. In that interim, but I'm not some college kid who just reads something and then just pukes it back out. And whether I have a bibliography or not, it makes it some sort of justifiable reference paper or talk. But I will have references and most in because and also I do have two lawyers on this group, and both these guys know that I don't need to be back in that situation and dealing with more legal shit stuff. Secondly, but more importantly, most importantly, primarily, I should say, and I have an obligation to you guys is that when I do the work, and what I'm trying to do with BFT is create a repository, create a place where we can have a place. Let's stop saying place. We're gonna have a an environment where you can topics of interest can be found by topics of people of that same interest, and then we can conjoin. And the way I've approached it right now is just Bob's words, and I'll be better at that. I'm going to be better at that starting now, and I'm going to go better. I'm going to be better retroactively because of that, not because of that, for that purpose at the same time. All right, so let's get back to it. So we're on consciousness. This is episode 2 of probably a larger continuation of that, and I will say that there will be a continuation of this to the extent that I do allow it. My next topic, which could potentially break this entire thing because I have a personal interaction with it. I think I'm going to share, and it's you're gonna think that I'm crazy, and I'm okay with that. I've been called crazy enough times to not put too much care into that accusation. I'm putting this down. I put too much care into, or I put too much. I don't care. I don't care if I'm called crazy or not. I think I have an obligation to share it with everybody because it does line up with the consciousness theory, but it is about simulation theory, and I think simulation theory is a very fascinating topic. It is shared by a lot of people. I made mention of Elon Musk is a simulation theorist himself, and if you're aligning yourself with someone like Elon, you're in better company than the first reference that a lot of other people are giving with a lot of other theories. And I'm not saying that what I experienced was the same thing that he thinks of. I'm just saying that it'll be an introduction into something close enough. And should to the extent that it's true, I'm not going to say that. To the extent that you don't call it complete BS, then we can continue on. But the channel could die after this one, and I'm gonna record that today, but I probably won't pump it out for a few days because I'm gonna have to review it a handful of times before I feel comfortable enough even admitting to the things that no one's going to believe. But we'll see. Anyway, back to consciousness. So I did do a lot of work and research, reading and videos, and there are a lot of really smart people on this topic. I'll tell you that, a lot of philosophers, and the I'll readily admit this one's over my head for sure. They're all over my head, but this one is easily over my head. But let's take another crack at it. I did distill it down back to the question that I did bring up in the introduction is consciousness. There's two pieces here. There's there's a there's the physiological, and then there's the post physiological thing, that post physiological being the consciousness itself. So we have our five senses. We have a world around us that we see with our eyes, our ears, our nose, our taste buds, in our skin, our skin cells. And those things provide our brain information. Our brain has neurons that fire all over the place, and they, through receptors and through brain chemicals, that it produces, a bunch of things that just jump around in the brain. But we have the ability to talk. We have the ability to describe. I mean, all these things are just a little beyond Darwinism. And so, Darwinism, survival of the fittest. You evolve. The human, not just humans, every species evolves, and every species has evolved from a species, effectively, I guess. I don't know. I'm not an expert on Darwinism. Let's not quote me on that. But my question on the whiteboard back here, and that's why I put the blue pen. That's not why, but that's a representation, I guess, of why I put the blue pen down, is because should we care? Should we care whether the fact that we can think the way that we do differently than what the second smartest creature on this planet, a dolphin? I don't know. An octopus, an ape, duh. Regarding consciousness, I guess let me just ask you: would you rather be a human or an ape? I'm assuming you're thinking human, and then my follow-up question is, why would you say human? And I know you're thinking, no, I don't know what you're thinking, but I think the likely thing that you're thinking is because we can experience human things that monkeys can't feel. Okay, let's break that down just for a sec. What would those be exactly? So we can monkeys feel emotion. I think that's very clear. But we have the ability to have a kind of a round of ethics. We have the ability to organize and communicate and have empathy and teach each other. I mean, we have an education system, we have society, we have structure, we have all these things that are products of not the the three things that, I'll say three because there's this the first theory that popped into my head of I don't know, sex. Sex. Should I just leave it at that? Yeah, no, and because that is probably basically it. I mean, the goal is to reproduce. So how do you, so how do you reproduce? You reproduce by being more dominant than the guy next to you, and therefore you'll carry your traits on to into the next generation. So I mean, I thought I had 3 at some point. At least last night I did. So yeah, whatever. So let's just call it food and sex. I think. Damn it. Anyway, whatever. Uh, we're way beyond. We're way beyond that. And Darwinism is a top what 3 worst theory that humans have ever produced. Makes sense to me, at least the way I think about it. That's just where I'd put it. It's probably number 1. Anyway, it kind of begs the question of after we figure out whether we should care about whether we have consciousness or not, is a question I'm not even gonna touch, but is worthy of contemplation for sure, and it has been for as long as written history has existed with humans. Well, not that others have written anything down. What happens when we die? If you don't buy into independent consciousness and you do believe that your ability to navigate and contemplate the world differently than a dolphin, if you believe it's the same way, when you die, and I probably believe this for a long time, the lights go out. And so what is the marginal ambition of caring about anything other than reproduction, if that's all that matters? So at least from a game theory standpoint, bet the outcome that might pay off. There's no payoff. There's the same payoff, I should say, if you're wrong about consciousness and if you didn't do anything about consciousness. Same payoff, which is nothing. But if you invested in some sort of outcome that was conscious, independent of physiology, and that happens to be right, then you're going to be the beneficiary. And then that's when real post-Darwinism happens, is when the survival of the fittest are the ones who bet on the come that that there's a life beyond life. But I'm not touching that. I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. I'm not going to touch it. That's up for any individual to think of themselves. You're going to get a bunch of links. Nate, thank you, by the way, for your thoughts. It inspired a lot for me to think about your thoughts, your idea and notion that human consciousness is a summation greater than the physiological parts. I thought that was very good. And anyone else who wants to ever submit an idea, they'll get my full attention at least, and I'll vet that for sure. Anyway, guys, I hope you have a good rest of the day, and I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. And you guys take care.